Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Date today is the 2nd of August, year of our Lord 2024. Welcome to yet another edition of The Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Motano. Got a big, huge, important show for you guys today. We've said in the past that the first time that we ever get a guest on this show, it will be the most right-wing person that you could find off of the street. But instead, we decided to go with something a little less lofty, and we went with the mother of my child. So the elusive Madison Rose that I have talked about if you've been listening since like the Bun and Cardigan show, we talked about her on there all the time. James didn't even think that you were real.
Yeah, not until, we met, but years later.
We met him for dinner, and I remember one of the first things that he texted me after the fact was he was like, wow, she was real, like, nice.
Yeah.
Pretty nice job. I think the first thing that I want to talk to you about on this we should probably give you some fun facts for the listeners out there. So to get to know Madison Rose a little bit, the mother of my child, who is this mythical person that we always talk about on this program. So let's rattle off some fun facts about you. Friends with Shawn Marion.
I am. We're on a first name basis.
What's like the dap etiquette with Shawn Marion, with the Matrix?
We don't.
Okay.
But it's more of like a...
Oh, so it's just a little nod thing.
Yeah, a nod.
It's kind of going to be a blind spot for our son, because I think we know all of the... It's like we know what all of the daps are, but it's how you know when to do them.
We can teach him.
Yeah, but
we got to run scenarios. We got to...
I don't know them, though, because if a dude walks up to me and, like, he's excited... Because it's weird. So I think it's like if you don't really know the dude... It's just one of these, and it's just a really light bring in. But the highest point of it is like, if you really know the dude, it's the one where you just clap like that. I'm sorry if that destroys the audio. You clap like that, and then it goes into a full hug.
Well, then run those. Be like, all right, we're just meeting for the first time. And then test him.
Yeah, okay. Keep him quick on his feet. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then throw a random one in there. Be like, we're meeting for the first time, but then go for the hug anyway. See how he has to adapt.
Yeah, and then if you're in Detroit, you do the don't you snap at them?
I don't know.
I think you snap, but I don't remember if you do I don't remember if you snap and then do like a point finger thing.
Did somebody tell you that?
No,
Did somebody tell you to do that
that's a
when
thing
you
in
meet
Detroit.
somebody in Detroit?
That's a thing in Detroit.
Have you seen it, or was somebody like, yeah, dude, if you ever meet somebody, you should snap and point at them, because that sounds fake.
So what's another fun fact about you? You got arrested.
I did get
You want
arrested.
to talk about your arrest record?
Yeah, it exists, I guess. Trump Tower stairs, baby, forever.
2020 failure to disperse was the charge.
Failure to disperse and follow.
Or disorderly conduct, probably.
There was like 3. They couldn't decide, so they just hit them all.
I think that one was important. I feel like in a vacuum, someone who doesn't know that, maybe it's important to explain that. I don't know if you want to.
No, just leave it.
Okay, all
I
right.
was arrested.
You were arrested.
That's what matters.
And the mugshot is missing.
It was taken.
It was taken.
But I luckily have not found it.
Okay,
Tried.
And then another one. What's the third fun fact that you want to give people before we start to jump into the show? Do you want to do something soccer related? Because we have been doing some banger soccer segments on this program, and I feel like if anybody has the voice to do it. So what one of your soccer accolades do you want to throw out there?
I don't know. It has to be about me?
That you only have one knee because of soccer.
Sure. I only have one knee, one thumb, and one pinky, so missing half my body.
Because you played what position, sweetheart? You got to give them the context.
I was a keeper.
You were a keeper.
Goalkeeper.
And we were talking about something the other day, and I almost brought it up on the show, and I'm glad that I consulted you about this first, because you told me that I was fucking stupid for this. So that I was unequivocally wrong.
Sounds like something that I would say.
Well, once I tell you what it is, you'll be like, oh yeah, I did say all that shit. I said that the reason that America is never going to be good at soccer in men's is because the barrier of entry is too high, and the amount of money that you have to dump into it to get to that level is it's a wealth gap. And so that's whereas in other countries, it's first of all, it's just what they do. So it's just what everybody, and then you said I was wrong because
I don't think there's the wealth gap to me is the equipment and what it takes to play. So like lacrosse, hockey, but I think it really is just like that's not our game. That's not what we do.
Yeah, but my question is like if you're doing like what's the difference between if I'm hooping and I want to join like a really, really good AAU team versus if I want to join a really, really good travel team? Is it that I just imagine that in soccer it costs more just because the availability is lower because less people care about it. And so because the point that you were making the other day was also that because there's so much other shit that kids would rather do, like hockey, baseball, football, basketball, that soccer is just so low on the list. And I think it's because of that, and I don't know, this is like anecdotal. Well, not even anecdotal. I don't know. But I feel like that it would then cost more money because AAU teams, especially now, that's just how kids hoop.
Sure, and travel is the same. Like high school soccer, like that doesn't matter. Travel is what matters. But in other countries, maybe not so much here. Here you kind of do the normal, you play, you're on travel, you go to college, and then maybe if you're good enough, you can go further. But in other countries, there are scouts everywhere from like 5. And if someone sees you at 5 and they're like, wow, that kid is good, he's got potential, they like take you in and they'll pay for all your shit as you go.
I think that was a plot line in Narcos, is they were in like a shitty part of Medellin and they like saw that way. I guess technically it wasn't for soccer. They were recruiting him to like be a drug mule.
So yeah, kind of the same.
But it is kind of the principle as you go to these, but in America they do that for other sports. I feel like where like in football is the biggest sport, I think. Well, football and basketball, where it's like
say basketball. I'm sure if somebody catches a kid playing and they're like, oh, they're gonna push him for the AAU teams and make sure he meets the people he needs to meet. And
yeah, like just the sentiment of like if you're good enough they will find you. I don't believe that's true for soccer. Again, that's anecdotal.
Not here.
Yeah, not
here.
So we're
everywhere else.
But then why are the women so good?
It's a good question. I mean, what are the big sports here?
The 4 horsemen of the North American sports apocalypse are football, basketball, hockey, baseball.
Football?
Yeah.
Where's the women's? There's not a women's
league.
The
lingerie
football,
league, but sure, yeah.
Yeah, that is a lot of little girls' dream to be in the lingerie league playing football. The WNBA is just now getting attention.
Yeah.
So they're on the way. Hockey, women's hockey.
Sneaky, collegiately, there's infrastructure for it, but after that, you're right.
So what are the 4 horsemen for women?
Pro softball's not really a thing. That's a good point. You know what's funny? You brought up the WNBA. Someone posted in the Bills subreddit the other day, and it was a clip from when he was with ESPN, and it was in 2009, and he was doing radio with a dude. And he so it was around the time that Candace Parker got pregnant. And I'm assuming either missed the entire season or had to, bow out in like the middle of the season. And he went on this whole tirade about how he thinks and he was being dead serious. He thinks that he at least thought that it was bullshit that women stopped playing basketball as soon as they got pregnant. And he was like, his reasoning was, my wife was 8 months into it and she's going to Pilates class. He's like, so you're telling me you can't waddle up and down the court for 5 minutes a game? And it got the gears spinning for me for a little bit. And I was like, what capacity would you have had for that? Because you were playing basketball when you were pregnant.
That's true. So I probably could have, played in the WNBA pregnant. Yeah.
But that was the first trimester though. Because by the end of it,
when I wasn't, it wasn't because I couldn't. It was just a matter of time. I was tired.
As a matter of fact, I'm trying to remember the timeline on this, but the story that people love to bring up on this show, and actually maybe it's worth rehashing a little bit just because you actually have a unique perspective on this that has otherwise never been told, because why the fuck would I tell this part of the story? But I think you might have come to play with me for a little bit on the day that I showed up and fought a bunch of little kids.
We did not play.
Okay, I don't remember.
But the part my perspective is I was at work and then there was an emergency and I was like, we were supposed to play together. So I was like, you go play. I'm going to handle this. And it was like a medical emergency that I was that I was handling. It was up there. Ambulance were there. So while I'm stressing and writing this report, and then I turn around and you come back, just sweat everywhere. And you sit down, you're like, I'm like, okay, how'd it go? And then you just went on a tirade about these 13-year-old kids for about 20 minutes at least.
It was because they were huge pieces of shit. And for those of you who weren't around a couple, like 6 months ago when all of this happened, I will rehash this story very briefly. So when I hoop, I'm there to shoot around. Do not ask me to run fives. Don't even ask me to run threes. I'm not doing it. So the long and short of this story is eventually these two dudes were like, they were eyeing me the whole time. And I was like, on the same court as me. And I was like, one of two things is about to happen. Either they're going to ask me to leave so that they can do a one-on-one, which if they did that, that's valid, dude. Like, I'll get off the court. But the other part of it is I was like, but they might rope me into running fives. And so, after like 15 minutes of shooting around, these two dudes, he's like, hey, man, like, you want to go play these kids? And I was like, no, dog, like, I'm here to shoot around. Like, I'm not good. Like, I'm just, here to have a good time. And he was like, come on, like, they're kids. And I looked over at the court that he was pointing to, and it was like a bunch of like 13-year-olds. And I regret saying this out loud, but I pointed to them and was like, those fuckers? All right, sure. And like and when I say 13-year-olds, like, imagine the TikTok haircut. You know what I'm talking about, with the bullshit in the front. And and they had the short, it was annoying. All right. I just hated the essence of these kids is I just hated it. And the problem that I ended up having was as soon as the game started, I got past the ball and I was nobody within 10 feet of me. Of course that shot's going up. Brick. All right. Sure. I just spent the last 45 minutes shooting around. I should have been warm. Sure. The problem was the next time that I got the ball, the littlest fucker doesn't even face up. Like, he takes a step back and goes, non-shooter. And it sucks because I can look back in retrospect and be like, he ate my ass up with that for sure. But the rest of the game, I was in that kid's fucking shirt. And there was a point where they were like running like DHOs and like off-ball shit. And I'm like, what is this? And so I was like, this kid's never scoring. He's never getting another dribble off the rest of the game. What ended up happening was there was a point where I almost sent a kid to the hospital because they're just being dumb and reckless. Like, I'm not about to fucking put you in the dirt. But anyways.
But the point of that is I don't think you remembered where you were playing.
No.
I'm not going to talk about where I work, but it's a different style of play. Those kids aren't outside with no refs.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't have been able to afford this house if I put that kid in the ground and then it got back to.
Yeah, because I would have been the one called.
Yeah, that's true.
Been really more annoying. It would have been funny to have to kick you out, but I would have been more mad that.
There's the scenario is you're dealing with a medical emergency and then you get a separate call that something's happening on the basketball courts that needs attention, and you find out that it was actually the soon-to-be father of your child who bitched a little kid because he couldn't stand the fact that he got called a non-shooter by someone who was born in 2006, 2009 maybe, perchance.
And then I would have had to escort you out by arm.
Yeah.
Just to make sure you left.
Hey, speaking of basketball, we've been watching the Olympics a lot lately. And we did a whole episode on Monday about how much you and I have been enjoying the Olympics, and specifically Gold Zone, hosted by Scott Hansen, because you have become, in the last 365 days, a big Scott Hansen girly.
I am. No shame.
I asked you, I said, if you bumped into Scott Hansen, because you're not somebody who, generally, if you saw a famous person, you probably wouldn't say anything, but you said that you would say something to Scott Hansen.
Just something nice, like, I respect your work, man. And then that's it. I'm not going to, like, fangirl. I'm not that kind of celebrity, just, like, genuinely what he does, the skill. I love it.
Yeah, like treating him like a veteran, almost.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Yeah.
Handshake.
Move the trackpad on that a little bit. Yeah, definitely, because I think, especially with what he's done with the Olympics, I don't remember if we talked about this on the last show, But the funniest part about his Olympic coverage has been the fact that he is very honest about the fact that he has no fucking idea what's going on in most of these sports.
But he does well anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And he's just covering it like some dude. But then he's also got like some super diligent notes, like whatever producers, whatever research department that he has. He's like, you're watching beach volleyball and he's like, oh yeah, and Fjord Bergersen from fucking Norway, they don't even have it's Norway, they don't have beaches. He's like, they practice in an indoor facility, and get this, the name of the town is Sand. He's like, give it a Google. He's like, I swear to God. So even if he doesn't know what's going on, like, remember when we were watching fencing and he was like, I'm going to be honest, folks. I'm learning how this shit works at the same time that you are.
But that's what makes him lovable, because we're all thinking the same thing. So when you're talking about fencing in like high level terms, like who knows what's going on? So we appreciate Scott for being a man of the people.
Yeah, raw and organic. What? Because I know you haven't had as much time to watch the Olympics as I have. But what has been the standout for you? Because I think sneaky it might be fencing.
I think this is the first Olympics I've watched fencing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if maybe that's why. I think surfing was cool. I don't know if you saw where they were. I think it's cool.
It was bullshit. They just wait around for 20 minutes for like a sick ass wave to show up, and then they'd like do an ollie in the water, and then they're like, all right, and then we just wait for a little while again.
And you're talking about fencing being cool? They just poke each other.
With swords, it's super high action. You were watching that shit go into overtime, and they're like fucking dancing and like getting on the defensive and shit.
2-second segments.
In overtime, yes, it was. But when you watch it, it was the next day. I don't remember what the countries were, but yeah, man, they're going back and forth.
Sure. Well, all I watch are highlights anyway. So when I only see the highlights of the surfing, I'm not there for the 20 minutes. I just see the cool shit, and then I'm like, wow. Good for them. Surfing is cool.
Isn't that kind of the coolest thing? This is not this is literally what the Olympics are about, so I don't want to present this as if it's profound, but it is really fun. Like when we were watching that kid from France, the 22-year-old win that gold in swimming, and he's on the podium, and they're like he's in Paris, and he's winning it for his country. And that is just the coolest feeling in the world, because you're like, and you made a comment, you're like, that's the highlight of that kid's life. And it's like, and then you're like, but he's only 22.
Yeah, but it's about being in France.
Yeah.
Even if he wins another gold, highlight, huge deal, but he's not on his home turf.
Yeah, and it's even cooler when it's like you almost wish that South Sudan could medal or something, just so that we could hear some sick stories from there. Or I don't know, are you at all tapped in on what Flavor Flav's, I think we talked about it, what Flavor Flav's involvement it is in the water polo team?
Water polo? He
bankrolls the whole team.
Yeah.
That's just like what he does.
I think this isn't new either. It might be the best storyline, is non-athletes being involved. Like him and like Snoop Dogg just like having the best time of his life, just bopping around wearing funny t-shirts. That's great.
See, now the gears are spinning, and I'm like, who's the funniest athlete? Because Flavor Flav doing women's water polo, I don't know if it gets funnier than that. That's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
Like, if Ludacris was the fencing sponsor, who would it be? Folks, we have our child is crying in the background, so we're going to take a quick break. All right, let's pick that back up. Ludacris is the fencing sponsor for the United States, both men and women. Is that funnier than Flavor Flav as the water polo?
Not funnier. I haven't heard Flavor Flav's name since his show in like 2004, 5.
Well, he's big with the Pistons. He's at Pistons games all the time.
He's not on like national news. No. He's not like Ludacris is still, I think, relevant in day to day.
Yeah, we just saw him he did a commercial for some bullshit. I don't remember what it was. To me, it's the same picture. It's the same guy. It's like the dude that you're like, no, wow, we're really about to open a can of worms. Who has more cultural significance, Ludacris or Flav? Ludacris.
Yeah, when you said same picture, disagree.
Yeah. Okay, we got an email here, copinghoursubs@gmail.com. Spelled phonetically, email available in the description wherever you listen to this program. Speaking of Olympic sports, sweetheart, this one comes into us from Colin. Colin, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, Colin.
Hey, Nick. Since the Olympics and Madison Rose, He didn't write that, but I'm going to add that in. Colin didn't know that this was going to be read in this episode, but... Hey, Nick and Madison Rose. Since the Olympics started, me and my family have been watching them at dinner while we eat. Today, while eating, we watched women's and men's 3v3 basketball. Throughout the entire time, however, my mom couldn't stop complaining about it, calling it a, quote, fake sport only played by busts and scrubs, unquote. I told her how Jimmer Fredette was able to reignite his career via 3v3 basketball, but she thinks that it's proof that the sport is for busts. She eventually moved on to how absurd she thinks race walking is, saying that it is not a real sport. And Colin, I'm not going to read this on the show. If I was eating dinner with your mother and she said this, I would have laughed out of politeness, sweetheart. I'll read it to you later. I vehemently disagree with both of her opinions, and I told her that she's just being a hater, which she denied, saying that pointing out that they are lame is not hating. Are there any sports that you think should not be Olympic sports, or are people like my mom uncommon when it comes to this? I'd love to hear your thoughts, as well as the people in the comment sections. Please, folks, this is definitely going to be one of those emails where we look to you guys in the comments for some clarity on this one. I got to tell you, Colin, the absolute funniest thing about this email, and I hate to break this to you, I think his mom is dead on.
Agree. There are some adding sports in are cool, but like there's a line.
Yeah.
There's got to be a line somewhere because we just keep adding.
Yeah, but flag football coming around in 4 years, I think, is good. That's gonna be super good. We did actually get an email about that too. I don't know if it's really not that it's not worth reading. I apologize for saying that. But it is going to be added. Yeah, I'll just read it very briefly. It's a quick email. This one came from Victor. Hey, Nick, you are correct that flag football is being added to the next Olympics. The U.S. is absolutely going to run away with it, but there are some countries that will be a fun fight for silver and bronze. Canada, Germany, Japan, and Nigeria could all be fun to watch as long as you know that they don't stand a chance against the U.S. Yeah, I think we mentioned Japan in the last episode, and then Italy is the other one that sneaky is into flag football. But back to Colin's email here. It's not even just that some sports are dumb as hell. It's specifically the 3v3 basketball thing that really resonated with me because I was bitching to you for like 30 minutes about how fucking stupid it was.
Mostly about who was playing.
I was I'm still a little disturbed by the fact that Haley Van Lith has a spot on an Olympic roster because I don't think, first of all, she's already won like 3 fucking gold medals in her life. And they're all like the U17 and U18 and bullshit like that. And so, okay. And the reason that I don't like her is not because it's not on the back of who she is as a player. It's just who she is as a person. I think she started at South Carolina and then she transfers to LSU and then LSU doesn't win a national championship. And then she's like, actually, I'm a TCU Horned Frog now. So she basically just turned into the DJ Uyunglele of women's basketball, where DJ Uyunglele played a year or two at Clemson and then was like, wait, we fucking suck now? And then went to Oregon State and then was like, wait, Oregon State fucking sucks? And then was like, I'm actually going to go be the quarterback at Florida State now. So that's where he's going to be quarterbacking this year. And Haley Van Lith is the same fucking thing. I don't think she deserves... What?
Does that only bother you in college? Because in 2016, I remember somebody being very excited about a trade.
It was a free agency signing, but yes, the point is... Yes.
So you don't like when somebody's on their team that's not great, or they see a team that's about to win a championship and they go there? That's interesting.
If I'm a women's basketball player and I don't know, maybe you want to Google this really quick. You want to just Google for me Haley Van Lith like college career. I don't know, because I'm pretty sure she started at South Carolina, right? So, okay, if that's true and she started at South Carolina, they have one of, if not the greatest women's, Dawn Staley's not the greatest women's coach of all time, but right now she's the best in the country, right? Okay. And then who's the woman at LSU? I don't remember her name, but the blonde woman. Okay. So you want it. So it's about championships for you. That's your point. This is about championships. Okay. So what the fuck? You went to TCU? Huh? I don't know if you're able to find it.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Because at least, first of all, with Kevin Durant, it worked, right?
So is that your bar? Is that you only like it if it works?
Okay, that's true. If Haley Van Lith wins a championship at TCU, I'll get a jersey. When she gets drafted, I'll get a jersey.
Ooh.
What if the Sky draft her? What if the Sky draft her?
Get a Reese jersey. There are a lot of other jerseys. You don't need what?
No, but it's not about me not wanting an Angel Reese jersey. It's just it's me making up for the fact that I was a shithead to her for 3 years. Like, sorry about that. I was never mean to Angel Reese because she's always ruled.
Bad take.
And she didn't run from the grind, by the way.
Right. So if that's what you're saying, then you got to stand on it and not be like, oh, well, you can run from the grind when you win.
You know who else ran from the grind and fucking doesn't win ever anything and is a perpetual loser? I need to check myself because I forgot that this is going to be on the internet and we're not just actually having a conversation. But I'm bringing this up because you like him, is Jimmy Butler.
Boo. That's my entire argument.
It's just boo.
Is boo. I love Jimmy
Talk
Butler.
about a motherfucker running from the grind.
Don't talk shit about Jimmy Butler.
But okay, sure. Let's talk about Kevin Durant. You want to talk about Kevin Durant? It's funny because had we not done this today and if I had done a solo show, I was like, how do I spend 20 minutes talking about Kevin Durant?
You're welcome.
But yeah, really. It's
which is further proof that you gave me zero entry to this. No, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. This is what I'm going to hit you with.
I go into most shows not knowing what I'm going to talk about.
Sure, but you're by yourself. It's different.
I will say I've done podcasts in the past where the host will send me sometimes like days beforehand what we're going to talk about. And what's funny is the ones that's happened for are the ones that are the most professional and the ones that are the most structured and have like really good production value and shit like that. But anyways, I was thinking about KD specifically from an Olympic standpoint because for all intents and purposes, he's like carrying the shit out of Team USA right now. Which, by the way, a note for posterity for those who commanded, I believe it's Saturday that the United States is playing Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And we have collectively decided as a treat for one game, we will root against the United States.
Yeah.
We will be rooting for Puerto Rico.
Yeah. I think that's fair. One game.
Just one, just because... Yeah, Jose Alvarado, go fuck it up. Just because as a couple who in the last 365 days spent 5 of those days vacationing in Puerto Rico, we feel like we have some claim.
Sure, yeah. And I think we're the only people that have vacationed there recently.
I didn't see that many white people there.
Yeah. And we visited the castle where, the white people did all the bad shit, but yeah, I think that's fair to say that we spent a couple days. So we are now the delegates. Well,
but we contributed to their economy. I don't know what Puerto Rico's economy is like. I don't know what it's based on. But how many countries are there in the world where like their entire economy is just based on tourism?
Sure.
I don't know if that's true with Puerto Rico, but with an island that small. So you're welcome.
I don't think like the whole economy.
No. I'm not saying, but I'm saying a large portion of it, I'm sure, comes from... You saw all those damn hotels that were down there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a small island. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Because, like, what would they import? Surely, like, fruits and, like...
Maybe, but I'm sure it's tough to, like, anything that takes a long time to grow because they get hit by so many storms.
Yes, and speaking of teams that you, like, or countries, rather, in international play that you root for that aren't the United States, let's do a quick rundown of all the ones that... this isn't a gotcha. Don't make that fair. I'm not trying to gotcha.
Okay.
So in our past, we have each rooted for Germany in the World Cup.
Yes.
Like most of the time.
Yeah, up until recently.
Because they won in 06, 10, 14, 18 they won?
I don't remember after 14.
It was so well that would make sense.
But 14 I think was the last year that I was like all in Germany.
No, 18 would have been. Didn't Mbappe and France win in 18? So Germany would have been 14.
18?
Yeah, because Messi, Argentina just won a couple years ago. So that means it would have been Mbappe, and then it would have been Germany would have been 2014.
I can't believe Mbappe won that long ago.
Yeah, he was like 21 or something like that.
Which that makes sense age-wise, just that feels like it was recent. But yeah, Germany's last 14, that sounds right.
And then I'll root for England from time to time.
I don't, but you do.
Yeah. And then, but that's kind of the only sport that I do it, because in basketball, why the fuck would I root for anybody else? We have the best team in the world, and we will not always have the best team in the world, but we do.
Unless we vacation somewhere and decide to take on all of their sports.
Did you see that what the fuck did you just say? Wait, you said
unless we vacation, because clearly all we have to do is visit somewhere else, and you're like, well.
Whoa, that's true. So the smart thing to do would be, well, I guess it was maybe worth mentioning the reason that we've rooted for Germany in the past is just because of heritage reasons.
Yeah, I was referring to Puerto Rico.
No, I know. I'm just saying I was sort of backtracking just to say.
Yeah, heritage reasons, and also 06 was just
Yeah.
a great year.
Where were you when Zinedine Zidane killed a person?
Sitting on my couch at my mom's house, and I watched that a lot of times. So good.
You ever practiced that?
No, but we talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, when somebody would make us mad and we're playing, we're like, we could just, he did it.
What sport because you play basketball too, between women's soccer and basketball has more room for hair pulling?
Ooh.
Because I'm thinking like corner kick versus like box out.
Honestly, soccer.
Yeah.
Soccer. Yeah, basketball, I feel like you're moving too quick.
Yeah.
Where soccer, you've got a longer time. You can really rip somebody all the way to the ground.
I don't know. I was trying to pull up a damn email. I don't know where my phone went. I can't pull up an email because there's no phone, ladies and gentlemen. But it's the coping hour, and it all stays in the show. It all stays in the show. We're not cutting away. I found it. I was sitting on it. So for soccer, the smart thing to do here is to vacation in Argentina.
Sure.
What's the deal with them? Aren't they assholes? Aren't Argentinians like the they're like the Americans of South America, where they're like everyone else is an asshole and we're better than everybody.
Well, especially if we go down there and then we're like, yeah, we love soccer.
Well, sure, but we wouldn't say that. Because isn't their whole deal that their unemployment rates? I don't know how this episode is going. Because
you took like a hard zag to
I know.
Unemployment rates.
I'm really because I'm pretty sure like anytime that people are like, wow, look at Argentina wins they just won Copa America, I'm pretty sure. And they win the World Cup and motherfuckers show out like the streets are packed. And it's because nobody has a job. And there's just nobody going to work.
I did see that rhetoric. I don't know how true that is. I didn't look up the stats.
Yeah.
But and I should mention before Germany, Brazil was my.
Yikes.
Yeah.
2004. Well, that was this. No, yeah. So Germany won in 2014 because that was the year that the match heard around the world. Brazil gets their shit kicked in Rio. I'm assuming is where it was. It was in Brazil, and it was 7-1.
Right, but I did want Germany to win then. But back when like Ronaldo and Ronaldinho were playing together, like that's what I grew up on. So Brazil was like, to me, they were that bitch when I was a kid.
Oh, and then I should have asked you to your Premier League.
Menu.
Yeah.
Always.
It's basically like if you grew up and you were like, if you didn't live in America and you were like, I fucking love the Yankees. I'm actually a Yankees, Cowboys, and Laker fan. It's the same shit.
Sure, but I played. I don't get anything for that.
There's a take. So you played soccer so now you can root for the bad guys. You can root for Darth Vader. So because I played football, I am allowed to love Brady. And I'm allowed to love.
Man, you is not.
Surely, and I'm telling you right now, you can tell me there's not somebody with the amount of Europeans that listen to the show. Somebody will send in 17 links to Man U scandals.
Oh, sure. I guess you're just finding a way to justify the fact that you like Tom Brady, though. So
would deflating the soccer ball?
Yeah.
That would matter.
It would matter. I don't think it'd make it.
That helps you, the keeper.
It doesn't stick right though. So. Not really. Not if you're expecting to get hit with a regular ball, then it's kind of flat. That would mess me up.
Is the worst thing that ever happened to you is this when you smoked your knee? You blew it out completely? Gone. No cartilage, no ligaments, nothing. You guys, the reason we had to do upper thirds for this episode is because you don't have a leg.
Right. It's really impressive. I gave birth with just one leg. So you're welcome.
Whoa.
Carried and grew our child.
Would they just put it in a stirrup, you think? The nub?
I think it depends where
it is.
Where it is.
Because what if it's just the whole fucker and...
Then you probably don't need to.
Yeah, but then you can't really...
You might have some counter pressure. Just wherever it ends.
Would you rather... Because you've kind of come around on our son playing football.
No, I'm trying to let him make his own decision, but if I can subliminally message him to not, I will.
Is that the main thing, that if you could control it and have a desired outcome without it fucking with him, you are not playing football? It's something that's not real. You know what I mean?
I don't hate it. I don't hate it that much, but knowing, because at the end, I don't want him to play because of mostly head injuries, but I played soccer and had a lot of head injuries.
You had more concussions playing soccer than I did playing football.
Yeah. So really, it's how is he gonna, I can't save him from that forever.
As a matter of fact, 8 times the amount of concussions.
Yeah. Well, you asked my worst. If blowing my knee out was the worst, that wasn't.
Whoa. So what's worse? Food for thought. Let's chew on this for a second, digest it, and see what comes out. What's worse? A blown ACL, gone, nothing left, or 8 concussions?
Long term or short term? Because long term at the time, it felt like, hey, I could play through this concussion.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the 8, it was the bad 1 that I would consider. That's. Yeah.
Do you want to do, folks, I'm just going to do it. You remember Friday Feels, everybody listening at home? When we were doing Friday Feels, anytime you guys, and by the way, I still do this. Sometimes you guys will send in emails, about some sincere stuff. And what I said during Friday Feels, and what I still do, is I consult my inner circle to refine my take a little bit and to refine my advice. You're looking at the inner circle. It's right here. This is the inner circle. And so you want to do one real quick, but I didn't screen this. Well, I screened it. I'm saying I didn't preview this for you. So, all right. So we're going to do it. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email will be available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. This one comes into us from William. William, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, William.
Subject line, how to get over jealousy. Now, a bit of a long-winded one here, so I'm going to try to speed through it. William, thank you for everything that you said up top here. Genuinely means a lot. But to the email here, William says, to keep a long story short, my girlfriend and I broke up back in March. It was the second time we tried dating, and it was going amazing. Sadly, due to circumstances, she was dealing with a lot of resurfaced trauma that led to her losing interest in any relationship because of her emotions being everywhere and not being able to fully put herself in a relationship. While being obviously distraught about it, I understood why and supported her decision. I hold no anger towards her, and the second stint was everything I ever wanted in a relationship, and I will forever love her as a person and be grateful for every moment that we had. We both work in the same company, and we had the same position at different stores. I was on the list to get promoted for the past year and have been jumping through however many hoops to get it done. Parenthetically, long story short. So we have a long story short inside of a condensed long story. So this is like long storyception here. He had to learn how to be a good manager while fixing everything, but her mistakes bled onto me, and I was expected to do more and more, fucking him up emotionally. Close parentheses. With my ex, she got promoted to the store, and I got promoted to and did well. She got moved to the busiest store in her area and got promoted, deservedly so. I will never take anything away from her, but I am beyond jealous of her. In such a short time, she's gotten everything I've been working so hard for 2 years to get. For even more added context, my first store manager retired, my second moved to a different district, and the third one is not well respected. And your store managers are the ones who push for you to get promoted. Yes, for those of you, I guess, out there who aren't maybe familiar with not really the corporate chain, but that's all pretty par for the course, yeah. I'd say. Yeah. Back to the email. Her first two are highly respected and pushed for her hard, which is a big part of why she got promoted. How do I deal with this jealousy? It's been eating me alive ever since it happened to her, and I still talk every day. Maybe we'll unpack that. And she's been talking about her promotion a good bit, and I'm still seething. Jesus, man. I feel like with everything, I got the short end of the stick with this, and I'm just pissed. And then there's a Jesus. Wow. Wow, man. There's a lot here. Wow. There's a very, very nice TLDR at the end of this. There were some other points made here sports-wise in the email. I'll just read these very briefly. So the TLDR of this email, ex-girlfriend promoted before me, and I'm beyond jealous and angry. How do I handle it? And then the sports stuff was, for keeping Nicholas Claxton, we had to take, as a Nets fan, we had to take on Killian Hayes, so you're welcome. Yeah, have fun with Cooper Flagg, motherfucker. And then I don't know what the fuck this last one is. So, okay, let's talk about the email. Thank you very much for this email, dude. William. I do want to, let's unpack maybe first the still talking to her thing. Because anytime that you and I have been through some shit, we would still talk.
Sure. Yeah. But I think we knew, like, we'd get back together. And that that's not the vibe I'm getting from that email.
Yeah, especially because I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes. Like, and if your whole deal, first of all, I think it's kind of fucking lame of her.
My initial take is just like, it's really cynical. But, like, is that why? Like, she's probably still interested in being friends, but there's got to be part of her that knows he was on that same path and she got it.
Oh, so you're saying she might be doing it to fuck with him?
I mean, otherwise, like, if you and I were in some very, very alternate world, respectfully, very alternate world, going for the same job, and I got it, I wouldn't be talking about it. Even if we were together, I wouldn't be like, oh, work was great today, actually. This job is. I wouldn't say anything. No. So I think by saying something, she is saying something.
That is the worst case scenario here.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah. The best case scenario is she's just excited.
Yeah. That is possible, that she just wants to tell him something great going on in her life.
That's it.
But it is interesting. You started with how to get over jealousy, and I was like, oh, this is going to be... Mm-hmm. It's going to be juicy. And then it was about a job, so that really threw me.
Oh, did you think... Oh, that's a good point, because I thought it was going to be... I guess I also thought... I didn't even realize that by the end of it, I had completely forgot what I thought it was going to be. I did also think it was going to be about...
Especially how it started.
Right.
It was like, oh, uh-oh.
But again, that's good that it wasn't about another dude. At least it's only about a... quote-unquote, only about a job.
I'd rather that, personally.
Yeah, it could be worse. You could be jealous over some other shit.
It could be worse.
Let's try to help this guy a little bit. First of all, check her on that, right? In a very respectful way, be like, hey, I don't love how it makes me, like, I do feel some type of way that I don't have this.
Yeah, I guess being open about it. And like, I'm so happy for you. I would start with that. And then saying, there is part of me that was really hoping that was going to be me.
And so it's just hard for me
to hear you talk about it.
And it's not that I'm not happy for you, because even if you don't mean it, tell her she deserved it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then leave the floor open. You can still talk to me about it. Just don't let that be the only focus of our conversations.
Yeah. And is it like, because this is just such a bad situation, because I don't think we should advise this guy to completely stop talking to her. I don't think that's fair.
No. Well, it doesn't sound like that'd be good for his mental, and the job would just be weird. So no. Yeah,
that's brutal. I don't know. I this is tough, because I'm really trying to think of, like, how would I actually get over that? If you, I guess I'm confused as to, like, maybe if I reread this, I would get, maybe I'm just forgetting what the timeline of all of this is, but I wouldn't let this happen for more than I don't even want to say a week. 3 days, if this happened 3 different times, then I would be like, well, all right, man, you need to fucking relax a little bit. So I don't know. If I'm just forgetting the timeline here, but, like, maybe the reason that I'm struggling to figure out how I would deal with this is just because I would have just been like, hey, stop fucking doing that. And then end of story. I'm not trying to shit on you, dude, but right?
Yeah. And I'm sure even if she does stop, it's still going to bother him that he still, even if she stops talking about it, she still has a job.
I was going to say, yeah, that does not get him.
That's probably what's lingering. I'd hope.
That's hard. And then the other part of it is, like, let's just entertain this just in case. It's a very long-winded email, so I feel like he would have included this if this was the case. If he feels like he can't say that to her because of because maybe they'll try dating for a third time and he wants to play it cool and he doesn't want to blow up. William, I don't know if this is, but hey, we just want to cover the bases here, right?
Right.
So what should he do if he's, like, worried about what the reaction to that? Because if he goes into this thing like, I don't want her to explode, but the language that we said was soft.
So most people, but I mean, that not every person would receive what we're saying in a positive way. I think the initial is to be on the defense and be like, what? I can't talk about
Right.
So I get that. So if he doesn't want to say anything, I mean, you know how I am job-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Get promoted into some other role. There's got to be more than one step up the ladder. Become her boss and then talk about it all the time.
Fuck yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Buy the company.
Buy the company.
Whatever, take out an IRA.
Yep.
Sell. Are you rent? You're probably renting, William. I was just scrolling through to see if maybe you included your age. I think, by the way, I might ask that in the future William, this is not directed at you, but just in general, I think if we're going to send in these type of emails, ages will help.
Yeah, agreed.
Because if you're 19 sending in this email, I'm going to respectfully be like, why are you still talking to this person?
If you're like 33,
yeah,
that's serious and you're at a career.
Yeah.
It's different.
Even if you're in your mid-20s, I'm going to be like, all right, well, this could still be a person for you. That's not to say at 19 that can't be a person for you.
Like...
Yeah. But it's different if I'm not dealing with that bullshit.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Well, he didn't include okay. So what did we settle on here? Talk to her about it.
If she doesn't receive it well, buy the company.
Oh, right. That's what I was on. So take out an IRA.
Cash out your IRA.
I'm sorry. Cash out your IRA.
And your 401k.
Yep.
Just take it all.
And then, assuming you're not renting,
sure, get a second mortgage out on your house.
Sell reverse mortgages. Use whatever escrow you get from those reverse mortgages, and then buy the chain. I don't know why. Again, man, he did not include this. I get Whole Foods vibes.
That's funny. Yeah. I immediately went into like a gym, but that's...
Oh, that's true. I guess that's true. All he says is stores. So my brain...
That would be more of a store then. And if it's long term, which is what it sounds like, then Whole Foods is a realistic assumption. Yeah,
you talk about managers and you know what's crazy? You know what's weird? This is gonna sound so dumb, but you kind of in how you work, it's kind of the same a little bit. What's weird about retail is when I was like 16 and I started working retail, I used to think that like the general managers were like making like $1 million a year.
For sure.
They're just some fucking guy.
For sure. Yeah. And making probably nothing.
They're making like 85 grand?
If that.
Yeah.
Depending on the store. Yeah. I remember applying to my first job and I told you the manager of where I worked is what I want. Like I applied for, but I was not qualified for, and they were making like 30,000, and I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
I'm good on 30 grand. And then, yeah, just some guy.
I remember when I was at Hot Topic, and because I was only hourly, but I remember doing the math and being like, I make $11,000 a year. I was like, that fucking rules. That's awesome. That's a good way. That's another fun thing we can do at the end of this. Let's go pound for pound job history. First job.
Little Caesars.
Meat processing. Second job. Under the table, by the way, cold hard cash in an envelope every week. And then we would blow it. My brother and I would go to 12 Oaks and we would blow it on Nike Elites. It was a different time. It was 10 fucking years ago, okay? It was 10 years ago. I never got, and we'll get back to the jobs thing, never bought the Galaxy Elites. Remember how motherfuckers would...
Yeah, because we were just talking about the dress.
The dress.
The Fashion Week dress, the Galaxy
one.
Oh,
right.
And that's all I can think about is the Galaxy phase we all went through. I did have Galaxy leggings.
You did?
Multiple pairs.
I don't think I owned anything. I skipped that one. I had a shit ton of joggers.
Yeah, but that was more... That fad was at least longer than like the 6 months that Galaxy was okay. Job was Planet Fitness. I did have an internship at MSU mixed in there.
Mine was Nike. Pretty cool job. Pretty fucking cool job for a 16-year-old to have. It's a pretty cool job to have. Although I remember that when you drove me to that interview.
I was gonna say.
And then I remember immediately the interview went really well. Obviously, it went really well. And we went over to your dad's, And they had said to me, they're like, we'll call you in a couple of weeks to come in for paperwork. But I didn't know what that meant. Yeah. Now I understand that is language for you got the job. Right. But back then I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And I remember your dad was like, that means you got the job. Like, relax.
Which is, I think, probably the best case scenario. Instead of you going in being like, I got the job, and then you didn't, and like your girlfriend's dad is looped in on it.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, here's the question. Speaking of you and your father. You know how, like...
It's a hell of a way to start a question.
Hold on, stay with me. Just through the lens of me. Okay. You know how, like... So from my perspective, you as like a... the women, like, there's this... how do I... let me phrase this with... Hold on. It's like when you're like 9 years old, you know, you think of like, oh, like girls are conditioned to plan their future wedding and to imagine who their Prince Charming is. Like that's to think of things in this like very nuclear way. Sure. So I'm asking to say, surely your dad at some point was like, here's what I hope for my daughter in a man. Do you think either of you thought that the father of your child and his grandchild would be a podcaster?
You know, he listened to a lot of NPR, so maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe. I have a lot of those memories, and every time we were in the car, so maybe that's why we are together, is subliminally, I was like, I need to be with someone.
That reminds you of your dad?
No.
Well, that's the score point on the board for Freud.
I was really reaching there to connect the podcaster thing that probably didn't exist when I was a child with a dad who did not push me to date. I didn't have a wedding. Like, I didn't planning things. I was never like, oh, I'm going to get married and have kids. I played sports, and he made me play sports. So no.
And then we had a kid.
We did. But we did not have a wedding, so we're still good on that front.
Yeah, do you want to get into that? Because people bitch at me all the time about the fact that we're not married.
Yeah, we can. I really wanted to make like a really shitty joke and be like, finally, somebody got on him, but I won't do that.
Yeah, that would not feel great.
I won't. It's a mutual decision right now.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm not going to say that. Fucking never mind.
Say it.
I was just going to say, I think it's funny that we are at that point where, like, you know, there's like green card marriages. It's just a government marriage for like insurance and shit. Yeah. But that's you. That's your idea. That's not even me. And that's what me presenting that as if it's my idea. It's fucking yours.
Sorry, I want you to go to the doctor.
Right. Yeah.
Like once a year is all I'm asking.
Hey, can I get I think last week I said something. Oh, right. That's right. Last week I was talking about diarrhea and I asked specifically to speak to the male listeners of the Coping Hour, not the women or the non-gender conforming listeners.
And unfortunately, I was very close by during that and overheard everything. Yeah, but hence why I want you to go to the doctor.
You also would have heard the diarrhea. So anyways, so it didn't matter. Even if you heard me rehashing the story, it's like you lived it in real time. You were in bed with me. So, fuck.
Sounds like you had diarrhea.
No, stop that shit. No, because the last episode, I specifically asked people not to call me Diarrhea Boy and to say that I had diarrhea in the middle of the episode. That is not what happened. So do not perpetuate this fake news. That is not what happened.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Fuck, what was I going to say? I was bringing that up for a reason. The male listeners of the Coping Hour. Hey, fellas, can I ask you guys about something? Because I got someone yapping in my ear about this, telling me that I got to go to the damn obstetrician. No, that's the OBGYN.
Just really want you to go to
oncologist?
OB.
What's the I?
I don't know. I don't go, but I'd like you to go.
Obstetricianist. So you want me to go because I have
a weird thing in your eye.
I have a hole underneath my pupil.
It's like it's like a second pupil, but farther down. And I'm guessing it's new since neither of us have noticed it.
It's like what I told you the other day was it has formed at least in 2024. That is the timeline on it. I know for a fact that I noticed it this year. I think it might have been when we either right before we moved here or right after we moved here.
And that didn't raise any flags.
No, I remember vividly bringing it up to you.
No.
I remember this. I remember it. And so then it's like, because I don't know what the worst case scenario here is. I think what I said to you the other day was that now I just see 4 dimensions.
Yeah. You said that was worst case scenario. And I said maybe we go to a doctor just to be sure.
And the doctor's going to like put a fucking monocle on like he's the Monopoly man, like he's fucking Mr. Peanut. And his analysis, he's going to write down on his clipboard, this dude has sick as fuck eyes.
Then why do you not want to go if that's all that's going to happen?
I don't need a doctor to tell me that my eyes are cool. I know this thing fucking rules. Are you kidding me? Are you out of your mind?
Mm-hmm. Doesn't hurt.
Madison Rose, let's do a little rapid fire to end this episode. Ooh, you want to play the game that we were doing? I don't think that's actually going to make for good podcasting. If the game we were doing the other day, let's try it for a minute just to see how it goes.
The mascot game?
Yeah. Well, you don't want to play the mascot game? Okay, we don't have to play a mascot game.
Thank you.
Is there anything that because this is your first time in front of a microphone, not your first time on camera, it's
a solid first impression. Thank you.
Photography, I didn't mean it like porn. I didn't mean like, maybe I'll just bleep that out. Grandma's going to listen to this, be like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'd really rather not associate me with.
That's not what I meant, Grandma. I just meant she hasn't been on a podcast before. Is there anything that you've been like, do you want to do your Shohei thing? I'm not even going to talk. If you want to do your Shohei thing, you want to talk about, you want me to rile you up about Shohei Ohtani and how I think he's the greatest baseball player of all time, to which you will reply,
I don't support gambling addicts, but...
Mm-hmm. People who, I think the phrasing yesterday was people who throw their friends in jail.
Yes, because of their gambling addict. It's crazy. That's a crazy thing to do.
Do you think...
And people are just like, yeah, he's cool.
He's the fucking... Because he can throw 105... That's lofty. He can throw 100 miles an hour and rake 490 in the same game.
I should have trained to be able to do that. Then I wouldn't have been arrested.
All right. Well, you were trying to hold me accountable for the Kevin Durant shit. So, to you, the most meaningful athlete in your life has been who? Who took off the Carly Ham? Who was
Mia
it?
Hamm?
Mia Hamm. Sorry, Carly Lloyd was. I was conflating two people from like 30 years apart.
For sure, but you were on the right track. So I'll give you that. I feel like I've had a lot, but the one who I played keeper because of her was Brianna Scurry. But that's like,
okay,
that's 96.
Okay, so
early, but I think 04 too. I think she won twice, and I remember seeing her and being like, that bitch, and that's what I wanted to do.
Okay, so if Brianna Stewart got
Scurry,
so if she was a degenerate gambler, what then?
She wouldn't.
No, that's not what. No,
she just wouldn't.
But let's say Matt Ryan is a fucking degenerate gambler, which he should do instead of calling games, because he sucks at that. I don't like hearing Matt Ryan call games.
Yeah.
If Matt Ryan was a degenerate gambler,
then I would tell the media to stop lying.
You would tell the media.
Fake news.
You would. I would start a podcast. New guy just dropped. Man who starts a podcast just to, although I can't say, guy who starts a podcast just to call out the media for being fake news. That happens 1,500 times every single day. Somebody starts a podcast.
But it would exclusively be fake news that would piss people off. Not fake news that everybody's like, yeah, that's fake.
Fake news that would piss people off. So you're calling out fake news that pisses people off? Or you're doing like misinformation?
Both.
What's funnier between fake news and misinformation? Don't let me get into this, because I'll get all crossed up. I'll get all fucked up.
That's the point of the podcast. See, just messing you up. And then if you ever catch on to what I'm doing, you're just gonna hear me talk shit about Shohei Ohtani or Michael Jordan, and you're gonna be like, "This bitch." You could
say literally whatever you wanted about Michael Jordan, and I wouldn't flinch.
Not you. I'm saying you.
Yeah. Do you think that when our son grows up, he's going to think that LeBron is the GOAT just through the virtue of us?
You know, I'm worried because we live in Chicago.
Fuck.
Yeah. There's a Yeah.
Whoa. I didn't even think about that. Technical difficulties one final time. I really hope with the amount of manpower that I put into producing this motherfucking thing that it was a listenable episode. And that it was...
Yeah, not manpower in planning, manpower in furniture moving.
Both. What do you mean? Sweetheart, I've been thinking about how to map this shit out for fucking like 6 hours.
Like visually?
I've been talking to you about this all day where I was like microphones and interfaces and cameras and
physically,
framing.
Not planning like you never plan. These are my talking points. That's what I meant.
Oh, fuck that. Who cares about?
Yeah, that's what I meant. I just wanted to clarify. It wasn't like, what am I going to talk to her about? It was, what microphones do we have?
The same stupid bullshit that we talk about every single day.
Yeah, but now people are going to listen. And
I know. How invasive is that? Now it's just like, although, no, actually, we did go, usually how it goes is we'll talk about some, no, okay. Alrighty, folks. If you are listening to this, do you have any closing thoughts, sweetheart?
I do not. Thank you for having me.
Don't say that like you're fucking leaving.
Yeah.
Thank you all. So thank you so much for.
Thank you so much. I'd like to go to bed. So thank you for having me. You didn't throw me under the bus. You didn't gotcha me. Which I appreciate.
It's not a gotcha show. Motherfuckers are...
It's not a gotcha show,
I tell you
but
what.
You said it was our conversation, and all that we do is you gotch me. That's it.
Yeah, I get you to make fun of some underdeveloped part of the world, and I say, look at what a bigot you are.
Nope, not that kind of gotcha. A gotcha where you ask me like a really easy question, but it's so easy that my brain just goes blank. And then you're like, you fucking stupid.
I tell you what, the problem that we have on this program with getting guests is everybody thinks that I'm out to get them. They think that I'm a ghost. They think I'm gonna get them.
I wonder why, huh? I wonder why everybody feels that way, and I also felt that way.
I feel like I'm in the fucking Matrix right now. We watch all this damn Kitchen Nightmares. And all these motherfuckers are like, I don't know what the problem is, but it's always the same shit. It's always the food sucks and that they're a dumbass. And then here I am saying I don't know what the problem is. And then another thing, and this is a good thing to maybe talk to you about, is I was texting with my brother-in-law earlier today, and I was like, I've been trying to think about what the funniest sponsor of the show could be, because eventually late stage coping hour hits all of us, right? We got to pay the bills and inoculate our son. So Mint Mobile is up there because I technically could get in contact with them because their reps always contact. Every 6 months they send an email to an email that I don't use, and I never see it until 3 months after the fact. So I know I got like motherfuckers from Mint Mobile banging down the door being like, we want to work with you. And I just don't read the emails. But then at the same time, I want to give money to Ryan Reynolds? No.
I guess, but if you're looking at it at that big of a picture, like what company would you want to give money to?
Newport. I will do a read for free. I would do a read for free.
That's funny. Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't do FanDuel. I wouldn't do DraftKings or MGM or any of that bullshit. Something that's, like, harmful to kids. But something that's, like, so over the top that I can't possibly be fucking serious about it. Because it is impossible for me to sit up here and be like, no, I'm doing a gambling sponsorship, ironically. I'm doing a Newport read for free.
It's that, remember how we talked about, like, being so ironic?
The wave of 21st century men, it's of people. Women can be shitheads.
They can.
So, for the audio listeners that didn't see that I just pointed to you and they just heard me make a stupid fucking noise. But anyways, we were talking about the other day that the people who are so poisoned by irony that they actually start doing the shit that they were originally being ironic about, and they get so lost in the fold. I don't think honest to God, I'm not being funny. I don't think doing a cigarette ad in 2024 is that harmful. Kids don't smoke cigarettes. They're
not that harmful, but we're talking about the impact of you as a person. So if you started doing it Be honest.
That would bother you?
No, are you going to start smoking Newports? So, like, you're doing the ad ironically, but it's still, but like you're using it though. So, is it ironic?
A stoma is a lost, it's kind of like the handkerchief of medical devices.
Wow, full circle. Because
We just watched an episode of Kitchen Nightmares where a woman had a stoma, and I was thinking the whole time, I'm going to say this. This is not good podcasting. It bothers me that I just had a fucking Hawkeye, the Lord is my shepherd, Saving Private Ryan, sniped from the crow's nest. The stoma is the handkerchief of medical devices, and I didn't get a word from you on that. It's the same. It's a thing that, when's the last time somebody was like, I'm going to get a handkerchief? You don't see those anymore. You don't see a stoma anymore either. It's the same thing.
I don't know how your brain put those two together, honestly. And for a second, I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? So, that was my initial reaction, if you wanted it.
So it's like Discovery Plus, the streamer, is the...
I understand now that you've explained it.
Okay.
Now that you said it out loud, I'm like, oh, but at first I was like...
Do you see how I got from A to B on that one?
After you told me how you got A to B. Yeah.
Well, I got halfway through explaining it, and you were like, no, I get it now.
Yeah, but you had to start explaining it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this on Spotify, be sure to rate 5 stars. If you are watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. Hey, how's the merch? You like the merch?
It's so good. We usually don't agree on fashion at all, but I would wear the merch. That sounds paid.
Not an ad.
Not an ad. We don't do ads here.
Unless it's for Newport, and we don't even accept money for it. We just want to do the read.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would accept money from you if you wanted to pay me to sell your merch.
I figured out what it is. I just figured out what the dream is. It's AMC.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't get them to sponsor whatever. Like, you can't get them. Because the problem is eventually this show will be sold. I'm just letting you know that right now. All right? This show is 100% getting sold someday. But I don't know how to sell it at all. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to, because still haven't figured out what it is. And let me do the outro for the third fucking time. Spotify, folks, 5 stars. If you're listening to this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the next one.